Today on The Dish, James Beard award-winning chef Renee Erickson, who's crafted an illustrious career defined by her culinary prowess and dedication to showcasing the flavors of the Pacific Northwest. Her portfolio includes 2 cookbooks and 9 establishments, each committed to locally sourced, high-quality ingredients and playing a pivotal role in shaping Seattle's gastronomic landscape. Her restaurant, The Walrus and the Carpenter, served as the perfect spot for us to start a mini food sojourn through her Seattle staples.
Just past the docks that line Salmon Bay, in the heart of Seattle's Ballard neighborhood, is an oyster bar meets restaurant that celebrates the bounties of the Pacific Northwest, The Walrus and the Carpenter.
It's a pretty magical place to be a cook. And I'm incredibly proud of it. I'll fight with someone from Boston about whether our seafood's better.
Renowned chef and co-owner Renee Erickson is a Seattle native with a passion for showcasing the region's finest offerings, like a slightly smoked salmon served with homemade herb cheese and grilled toast.
This tastes, I love salmon, but this is beyond, I don't know, it tastes beyond my normal salmon.
Yeah, it shows up really well. It's delicious.
The house specialty, Hama Hama clams, which are manila clams locally sourced from a seafood farm 40 miles away on the Hood Canal. Simmered in butter, shallots, and garlic, they're finished with a splash of cream and tarragon.
I have a really close relationship with the farm. My husband and I met there.
Love at first sight?
I was mostly, wondering if he knew enough about oysters to be selling them.
Erickson's culinary ties to the Evergreen State started in childhood. Born and raised in Woodinville, just northeast of the city, she was influenced by the nature that surrounded her.
In the summer times, my folks bought a cabin about 45 minutes north that looks out over the water. And so when I was a kid, we would go there, and that's where I became really interested in seafood, I would say.
And while that may have been the initial spark, Erickson admits she didn't plan on pursuing a career in the kitchen.
I have no actual culinary training whatsoever. I have a painting degree from University of Washington and thought I would be a teacher. Went to school in Rome, and at that point kind of really fell in love with the idea of food and how it's part of people's lives in a way that it really wasn't mine. I didn't come home thinking I was going to be a cook. I came home thinking I want to go back to Rome.
But things soon changed when Erickson began working as a server at a French restaurant in Seattle.
Do you remember when you were working front of house, what drew you?
I just felt like I was walking around being like, I have no idea how to tell you how this wine tastes. And it's not that I couldn't learn. I just was like, I didn't get it. But I did know how to follow a recipe. So I just asked if I could start to come in the morning and bake, essentially. So I would, read things and follow direction, and it worked out.
At the age of 25, Erickson set aside her pursuit of a graduate degree in fine arts to purchase that very restaurant, Boat Street Cafe. 26 years later, she has 9 unique establishments to her name, her Seattle food empire collectively known as Sea Creatures, with her eye for design helping the creative process.
They're giant glass spheres filled with amazing plants from all over the world.
To have a restaurant in that?
Yeah, it's uncommon for sure.
Encased inside the spheres at Amazon's headquarters is Erickson's Wilmot's Ghost.
Oh, wow.
Right?
What an incredible space.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh. And look up, right?
Yeah, right?
The geodesic dome, which opened in 2018, houses what she calls a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. An edible love letter to Italy lies within, an ode to her time spent in cities from Venice to Rome.
So my walk to school was basically from the river to Piazza Navona and then to Campo dei Fiori. And then through a market every morning, surrounded by vegetables and people carving artichokes when in season.
Memories I swear you could taste in every bite.
Yum.
It's those personal experiences Erickson and her Sea Creatures team reflect upon when creating each restaurant, from menu to design. Opening The Walrus and the Carpenter back in 2010 was perhaps the most hands-on of all.
We were much more kind of bootstrapping it. We, like my dad laid the patio that's still out here, and the mirrors that are here were from my uncle's like storage, and they were old doors that we turned into mirrors, and we don't do that anymore, thankfully.
Thoughtfully crafting a backdrop for each kitchen's creations, Erickson gave me a sampling of some favorites. A pork chop with Cabot cloth-bound cheddar on top, served with pickled chard. A classic Parisian steak tartare with shallots, capers, lemon juice, and hot sauce.
These are rye toast, so you can just create your own little rye toast.
And for dessert, a bread pudding, which Erickson first served at Boat Street Cafe.
There's some booze in there. It's definitely a favorite. People love it. It's intense. Like some people actually eat a whole one, which is a little, I worry for them, but.
But a whole one of these is a different story. From Sea Creature's cafe chain General Porpoise, these are the crowning jewels of Erickson's internationally inspired dishes.
So these are inspired off of a donut that I had in London, and they're filled with different creams and custards and things.
I want them all.
Yeah, right? They're all for you.
Hold on. Oh my God.
They're real good, right? Yeah. I know, it's fun, right? Rip it open, there's all that.
This is unreal.
They're real good.
That unabashed pleasure is one of the things Erickson hopes all of her customers, no matter the restaurant, leave with. But that's not all.
I hope they feel super cared for. Like, we want people to feel welcome. And little by little, I hope people understand how much effort goes into all of our sourcing. Because it's certainly not the most financially wise thing to do. But, it makes the food like a million times better. I want them to love it and come back, basically. I remember days where I would be writing checks to vendors and not a single guest would come in for dinner, and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm gonna die here.
Yeah.
But
It worked out okay.
slowly, yeah, baby steps, right?
And I had such a good time with Renee. I brought you the bread pudding, or they sent the bread pudding. Have a bite. We also have the donuts. We can fight over those. The names of her restaurants are so interesting. Sure. I mentioned Wilmot's Ghost in the piece as you're stealing a donut. That's for Ellen Wilmot, who would surreptitiously plant this flower around London. And she's got a new place, Lioness, coming out, which will be more small plates and wine. And she just does it all so well. Take a bite of that.
Well, I will, but I just love how she put me in the moment when she talked about how she really fell in love with the idea of food because of Rome.
Yeah.
Because it's part of people's lives in a way that it really wasn't part of hers. And that's how I feel sometimes we don't engage in food.
Engage in that.
Eat the donut.
And Brooke has almost finished the pudding, which I love. The bread.
I'm going quick.
It's right.
It's Italian. It's British. Is there an organizing principle? Or
no, each restaurant has its own area of expertise, but it is different. She's got the seafood that she does so well at a couple different establishments. She has a steakhouse-like place, and you saw the pork chop and the steak tartare. Obviously entirely different with the donuts and the pastry there.
Try this.
And Italian. She does it all
What is this
so
one in,
well. Oh, take a bite. It's amazing.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.